Welcome back to the Manc Entrepreneur YouTube channel, and today I'm going to be sharing with you what my childhood aspirations were. Now, this topic was actually put forward by a friend of mine who felt that it would bring quite a little bit of insight into any younger people watching this who actually don't know what it is that they want to do. And to sort of me tell sort of my story behind how I ended up where I am. And also what I wanted to do growing up and how that has changed. So with that said, I will say straight out, when I left college and went to university, I did a degree in history and politics. And as much as I learnt a lot, and like I said, you may have guessed in some of the videos I get a little political. I try and stay away from it. It's a little bit too contentious for this sort of channels on YouTube, but I had no idea what I wanted to do as a career at the age of 17, 18, and even when I left university, I still had no idea what career I would pursue. All I knew is that I didn't want to work in politics as a career, and yeah, I was sort of in the big wide world without much of an idea. I knew I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what that something was. I didn't at the time. Nothing. I couldn't be put to a tag as to what, I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to be a nurse. I didn't paramedic, firefighter, blah blah blah. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And even though I just said I knew I didn't want to be a firefighter, I actually did apply to the Greater Manchester Fire Service and went to their training and all sorts of stuff. And for whatever reason, I didn't go ahead with that, which, looking back, was the right move for me. But taking it back even further, when I was at school, I remember the one thing that I wanted to do, and I'm sure it's what 90% of what young boys want to do, is I wanted to be an astronaut. I really, really wanted to be an astronaut. I wanted to go to space. And even now, I still have such a fascination with space. In fact, we have Chris Hadfield's An Astronaut's Guide to Life. There's more books. They're all hidden behind the whiteboard. But yeah, I have a little space section with Stephen Hawking, Brian Cox, and a whole host of others. I love space, and that has stuck with me ever since being a child. But I wasn't academic in the subjects which would have allowed me to pursue a career in astronautism, in science or physics and space and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't for me, but it still fascinates me, and I think even now, given a chance, would I stop what I'm doing now and go and be an astronaut? No, I probably wouldn't. But that just goes to show how things change over time. What else do I want to do? Astronaut strikes me as the big one. The other big one was I wanted to be a race car driver. As I mentioned in the Mondays Don't Suck episode, if you missed it, I'll put the link in the description. I am a big petrol head and always have been from a child. I think my dad was a major influence. We always used to go to the Formula 1 events at Silverstone and the rallies at Tatton Park and stock car racing at Alton Park and not stock car, bloody touring car. Stock car races like Bellevue and stuff. And I've just always loved cars. So race car driver was another thing. However, me turning out to be 6'3" and not the lightest, chap. Quite bigly built. And you see all the little F1 drivers, all really small and slim, and I wouldn't fit in the car, to be brutally honest. So yeah, there was a few reasons why that would never work out either. And then growing up, like I said, I genuinely didn't have a clue. I went through the education system just by doing, when you have to do GCSEs and you narrow down your A levels and then you narrow down to a degree. I just kept picking things that I was good at or that I was interested in. And like I said, it was. I should have actually perhaps taken more note in school, really, because I got an A in IT. and I now work a lot in computers, and I got a B in business studies. And, I run a business, so I actually the signs from GCSE would probably have led me down the path that I'm on, but I totally ignored them, and ended up doing history and politics for the next 5 years. After 5 years, knowing that it wasn't for me. So, and that's not a bad thing, by the way. As long as if you can carry on and then rule something out, that's great, because then at least at least you tried and you found out. Now, I fell into e-commerce totally by accident. Whilst I was at uni, I was buying books from Amazon and eBay, mainly eBay, to be honest, because some of the books are quite old that I needed. So I had experience I knew about eBay and Amazon from quite an early stage, so I was comfortable with the process and understood it. And straight from uni, the first job I started doing was online marketing, AdWords. I started running an AdWords campaign for a business in Manchester. And then the person who was looking after the sort of e-commerce side, which it wasn't really known as that at the time. E-commerce was not a widely known term. It was just like known as selling things on eBay, selling things on Amazon, selling things on a website. The e-commerce term came about shortly after that. But me leaving school, looking for an e-commerce job just didn't exist. Only the people who were selling on eBay or Amazon were already doing it. So, yeah, basically my job didn't exist when I was at school. It just wasn't a thing, and only slowly was coming about whilst I was at university, and then boomed whilst I was already in it. So, now there's e-commerce recruiting agencies dedicated to e-commerce jobs, and you can get e-commerce directors and managers and all sorts of things dedicated to the art of selling things online. So yeah, I fell into it totally by accident. The guy who was doing the e-commerce thing left, and they basically, I think I was sort of like to fill the gap whilst they considered hiring someone else. And me and another really good friend of mine, still keep in touch with him now, Carl. Me and him sort of filled the gap a little bit. Carl had been helping out more than I had in the role, and yeah, we just took it from there. And for the next sort of 3 years, that's what I was working on. And then I left and went to another e-commerce company and did the same thing again. And yeah, so I totally fell into my career by accident, but I got it straight away. As soon as I got to grips with, I just understood it. Something just clicks. I was like, yeah, I get it. I get how this works. I can see how this is going to be a big thing. And yeah, like I said, for as many as childhood aspirations, my job didn't exist. When I was at school, primary school, eBay and Amazon didn't exist, and yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird, because it's like, what advice would I give to you? The first piece of advice is, if you don't know what you want to do, don't worry about it. There is an element that makes me think it will all work out in the end. You will find your way, and as long as you keep on, don't wait for opportunities to come to you. Just go out with an open mind and look around and see what's going on, and eventually you will find what it is that you're meant to be doing. And I know so many people who that's happened to. So many people who started off down one path and then and then something changed, and then they ended up somewhere else, but were much happier because of it, because they found what they love to do. And I would say, so if you don't know what you want to do, don't worry about it. Just go and if you have that entrepreneurial side of you, look for opportunities, look for things that interest you. I'd say that's probably the key. Try and find a business opportunity around something that you're interested in, because that helps massively. You'll naturally be better at something that you're interested in than someone who isn't interested in it. And secondly, I would say, if you do know what you want to do, if you're watching this right now and you're in school, if you're in college or university, and you have your mind set on, what your goal is, where your destination is, brilliant, because you know exactly what it is that you want. The only thing that can stop you from getting it is you. And there's no, I mean, I remember being at school, and I was probably, I can remember back as like year 1, year 2, which is what, maybe 6, 7 years old. And there was a girl in my class who I can remember back then saying that she really wanted to be a vet. She was like, I want to be a vet. I want to work with animals. I want to, help animals. And all these years go by, and like I said, for me, things changed, and I've changed my mind. My mind floated around from idea to idea. I always probably had an inkling I would be involved with business, probably through my dad's influence. I always saw what he had done with business, and created his business into a huge scale, and I always sort of looked up to him and went, yeah, that's really amazing what you've done. I'd love to be able to do the same. And in reality, it's almost like a generational shift. My dad did it before the internet was a big thing. Bricks and mortar, do it the hard way, get on the road, go meet people. For me, it's a lot easier. I have to do things. I can run a global business from right here, speaking to Australia, New York, blah blah blah, all within without leaving the desk. I flitted around different ideas, but I always sort of knew deep down business would be a part of something in my life. Whereas this girl from my class, all through, and I was one of those where we went to the same school from primary school all the way through secondary school and then to college, and she always wanted to be a vet. And then a couple of years ago, I sadly had to go and take my dog to be put down. And do you know who I went to go see? I went to go see the little girl who I went to school with, who always said that she wanted to be a vet, and she was a vet. And as much as the sad circumstances was that obviously we had to go have a dog put down, which is horrendous for anyone, I was also very proud, because I always knew that was the dream, that was the goal, and she made it. And it was nice. It was a nice moment to be able to say, yeah, you did it. Well, and being a vet is not easy. You have to do a lot of years of hard work, and like I said, ever since that age, she did it. And it's one of those, so if you know what you want to do and you're dead set on it, just do it. Just go for it. You know what you have to do it, and nothing will hold you back except yourself. And if you don't know what it is, or if you're worried that your childhood aspirations have changed, it doesn't matter. It'll all be okay. It's okay to change your mind, because you might try one thing and then realize it's just not for you. It's not what you imagined at all. That's fine. Now you know. Don't lead a life of unhappiness doing what you don't love. Life's too short. Find what it is that you love to be doing and just do it 100%. Just go after it and make your impact in that world. With that said, I know this is quite a long video of me talking. I hope that you found this in any way useful. And what were your childhood aspirations? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comment section down below what it was you wanted to do as a child, and if it changed, and if it didn't, are you now doing that job, or did you not like it? I'd love to hear your stories. Please let me know. If you liked the video, please give me a like rating. Subscribe if you are new, and as always, with that said, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.